Look how my mind plays.
Little bit of fame, little bit of hate, little bit of change. What's the craze? Keep it sane, don't fade away.
I have with the gaming community recently. Okay, I have been told by friends, classmates, like, that Call of Duty is a competitive game almost on par with Counter-Strike. Now, in the background, real quick word about that. What you're seeing is some Counter-Strike gameplay, literally just some random shit that I found on my hard drive. I don't know if anything special happens, but yeah. That's what's going to be playing. Now, this is probably one of the most confusing things to me, okay? So, Counter-Strike, I'm going to break this down. I'm going to break it down into what Counter-Strike does, and then into what the Call of Duty community does. And we're going to break down the competitive aspects of a game. Now, there are only so many competitive aspects, and I understand this, which means that there's only a possible scoring of about 15. I consider there only being 15 possible competitive assets. Now, all of the ones I can think of for Counter-Strike are the weapons. The weapons constantly are different. They're never the same thing. So, because of the spray patterns take a very complicated thing to control. So that's one point for Counter-Strike on competitiveness. They also have the best communication in any game I've ever had. Maybe not down in the silver level, but when you really are playing on like a face-it matchmaking team or something like that, it's the same. Now, the player base is about... I don't really know how strong, but whenever I'm playing, there's usually about 500,000 to 600,000 people playing. Now, that's on average. Obviously, it changes, but that's just to be expected. Another thing I think Counter-Strike does really well is the maps. The maps are designed flawlessly. The maps are designed to completely put everyone into a close quarters way and to force communication upon it. And the main game mode is, there's one, the competitive game mode that everyone plays. The others are purposes just to warm up your character. Now, there's one more, but it's not as big of a competitive element in my opinion, but some people think it is, and that's movement, smoke grenades, stuff like that. Obviously, smokes and flashes are extremely important, but I don't know if I'd call it a super competitive aspect. I mean, definitely if your team is better at smoke grenades than the others, you're going to have an advantage, but I don't know if I'd call it super competitive. Now, let's look at Call of Duty. Now, I don't really play this that much, but some people do. Now, if you combine about all of the Call of Duties together, I'm looking right now at a Steam Charts page right now as we speak, actually, and it seems if you combine them all together, it comes in at around about a total of 500,000 to 400,000 players. That's not really that much. Especially seeing the fact that, I mean, it's supposedly such a widely spread industry and sells so many games, but I feel as if it only sells games because that it can. It's the community. There's no real, you know, I mean, for Black Ops 3, the most players online ever was 63,000. That's pretty bad. I mean, yes, they have multiple games and their player base is very diverse, but once you add them all together from the statistics I'm looking at right now, that's only about 400,000 to 500,000 players a day, which the community is definitely weakening because no one wants to play the same damn game all the time. You know, Counter-Strike gets updates, and yeah, they're definitely not any different. I'll be dead honest. The game does not change much, but the competitive aspect of it really does if you just change a few weapon stats. But enough of that. Let's talk about the competitive aspects of Call of Duty. Now, I have thought very long and very hard on this because I despise Call of Duty personally, but I'm going to make sure that I do not let my own biased opinions get in the way of my predicament here and what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is, well, I simply don't like the game, but this is it. These are the competitive aspects I found. The game's movement. I will applaud it for its movement, okay? It's got good movement, okay? The wall running and things makes it, I would say, semi-difficult to understand and comprehend, but at the same time, I'm not going to say that I commend it that much. Again, it's just simple. Okay, it's not that revolutionary. Tons of games have done it before it. In fact, I believe it's like 48 some games came up with wall running before it. It's just Call of Duty's the biggest name to do it so far. Now, there's not many other things, but I will say that aiming, you do have to know how to aim, just like in Counter-Strike. So now we have movement and aim. Communication, hell no. I think the last time I played Call of Duty, I'm pretty sure I had like 9-year-old kids threaten to yeah, I don't even think I can say that on YouTube. But they're a very hostile community. Like, I mean, I don't think I've ever met someone that's been like, if you don't, if you team kill me one more time, I'm gonna dox you and put it on the internet, show all your nudes to everybody. I've never had that, but on the Call of Duty community, it's so unsecure. I mean, yes, Counter-Strike uses VoIP as well, but I mean, most Counter-Strike players play on PC, and most people, I don't know about anyone else, but I have never played Counter-Strike without some sort of proxy or VPN put up. I mean, I don't know if I'm just weird or something, but I have never personally done that. I've never found a reason to or why anyone would want to do so. Another thing, I'll give Call of Duty props for this. They do come out with more games, but I wouldn't say that's competitive. Knowing your map is, I'll count that as a .50. So right now I'd say they have about 2.5. But other than that, there really is no competitive aspects to Call of Duty. I've argued that aim isn't competitive. I mean, Counter-Strike with the AK, okay, let's take that gun for example. All you have to do is point it at people's heads and click, okay? The first 2 bullets of the AK are 100% accurate. But in Call of Duty games, all of the bullets, as long as you know how to control their recoil, which is, in my opinion, extremely simple, you just pull straight down. The only gun in Counter-Strike you can pull straight down and hit almost all of your bullets is the MP7. It's got a straight up and a little bit over spray pattern. I mean, I've yet to see a Call of Duty gun that doesn't. I mean, you can argue hip firing and stuff like that and trick shotting, but I mean, it's hard for an opper that plays Counter-Strike to not have to trick shot. It's almost a necessity because you need to. Because if you don't, you will miss your shots, and it's just the way it works. It's the way the boat floats. And I mean, people argue that it's so skilled. Oh, man, I hit a trick shot, a quick scope. That's not that skilled. I mean, because there's no point behind it. Like, you're not helping your team out if you're getting that trick shot. So therefore, you're not actually doing anything towards your team. Like, I don't understand how the game can be so competitive. How people argue that this game is so difficult and competitive. Even a 360 no-scope, you can argue that there's skill there, but to be real, there really isn't. Like, I've argued with everyone. No-scoping, a little bit, but, like, not really in that game, because crouching and stuff, yeah, it improves your aim, but it doesn't actually give you the predictability. Like in Counter-Strike, anyone that says that there's any kind of trick shotting is an idiot. No scoping, 360, no scoping, none of that's a thing. None of that's a real thing that's gonna end up being accomplished ever. I mean, I hate Counter-Strike players to say it. I almost said Call of Duty there for a second. But it's just ridiculous in my opinion. I mean, Counter-Strike, the bullets, you cannot predict the bullets. You can know the rough spray pattern edges, but you will never predict the actual bullets. It's not possible. They're totally almost random the whole time, other than the fact that you know they're going to be adjacent in some sort of pattern roughly this way. You're never going to be able to say, it's going to be like this, or it's going to be exactly like this. It never will be. It's never going to happen. But in Call of Duty, you can. You can always say, oh, my gun's going to go straight up. I mean, plus there's perks in Call of Duty. You can say there's a skill. That's not a skill. I mean, I have friends that are insane at Counter-Strike. And whenever, they don't even play Call of Duty anymore for the pure fact that it's degrading, because constantly you get vote kicked from lobbies and called a cheater, and it's just ridiculous. The community is not only super hostile, it's also very ignorant and arrogant. It's just not something I'd ever want to be a part of. You know, I would never want to proudly say, yeah, I'm a Call of Duty member. Like, But I am proud to say, yeah, I play Counter-Strike, you know. I used to be a pretty high rank. I used to be an NMS, which is a Nova Master. But there's no competitive ranking. Oh, my bad, Call of Duty fans. There's prestiging. That's not a ranking. You could suck at that game and be like 5th prestige, okay? You could suck. I mean, it doesn't take a champion to be able to prestige. You just need to play the game a shit ton. Like, yes, it's faster, blah, 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 blah. It's not that much better, though. I mean, let's be real here. Like, it's just... It bothers me that people seem to think that it's so competitive. Now, Counter-Strike has its flaws. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't have much... If you're not a competitive player and you don't like playing competitively, it's not your game. It's just flat out not your game. But Call of Duty, I would say it's casually competitive. Now, I don't hate the game as long as I put everyone on mute. But, I mean, it's just... It's an industry that makes its money off of console players because console players don't have any competitive shooters. And I feel like that's where all of Call of Duty's community comes from, is the console players. All of their community comes from the console players. And all of the Counter-Strike's community comes from the PC players. Now, I'm not going to stereotype anymore, because I believe I've already been extremely stereotypical right now. But Counter-Strike players do tend, and PC players usually do tend to find the intellectual sides of things and want to use those. For they find that intellectual sides of things are much more interesting and infatuating. I mean, take example, me. I love learning about computers and technology. I always love to learn about security. But something I can't stand is, I mean, people that take it for granted. People think that just because I have the ability to do something, that I should be allowed to do that thing. That's not how it works. That's how it shouldn't work. Okay? It's never going to work that way, and it shouldn't work that way. If you want something, you're going to have to work for it. And in Call of Duty, you can argue as much as you want that you're getting better, but to be honest, you're not. I mean, there's no skill improvement. All there is muscle memory in that game. You remember where your crosshair was placed, and then you remember to shoot there, because it's most likely. In Counter-Strike, you constantly have to be adapting, because the bullets always change. I have never landed a same shot, like one shot in the same place. I've never done it. Like, unless I'm using the op and standing completely still. I've never seen 2 bullets land adjacent to each other. It's just, I can't fathom how people believe that that's a thing. That should be even able to become. I don't understand why. But that's pretty much the end of my argument. At the end of the day, it's whatever you think. You have your freedom of thought. I can't tell you what to think. But I honestly don't believe that Counter-Strike or Call of Duty, God, I'm messing them up so much, that Call of Duty will ever turn out to be much of a competitive game. Now, don't really have much else to say, because there's nothing left to say. I've said everything I've wanted to say. Counter-Strike has its flaws, but again, they're all competitive. So, in the end, the summary is, if you really want a competitive game, Counter-Strike is the option. But, if you only have console, I can understand why you play Call of Duty competitively, because it's just what you do. You're better at it. And there's not really any competitive games on console that are massively multiplayer that you can compete against other people. So I can't understand why you would call it a competitive game. But to everyone else that plays Counter-Strike, Call of Duty's not competitive. And also, there's no communication. I have asked many people, hey man, how's it going? Yeah, hi, it's good. I've never gotten that from Call of Duty. Alright, well, this has been my opinion. It's completely unbiased. I've put a lot of thought into why Call of Duty could actually be good. I've even played it recently. And that's pretty much the end of the summary. Okay? I hope all of you have a good day, and have a safe night. Take care.
Look how my mind plays.
Little bit of fame, little bit of hate, little bit of change. Watch the craze, keep it sane, don't fade away.
Look how my mind